Present.
Nattari?
Here.
Robel?
Here.
Strumelberg? Present. Mayor Kimball?
Make a motion, we go in private session.
Second.
To discuss litigation, negotiations, and motion.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg? Yes. Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
You have to leave. You gotta go in the hall for a little while. But you come back. Okay.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Nattari?
Here.
They're swearing
Here.
right now.
Strumelberg? Present. Mayor Kimball?
All right, bye.
No, we can do the flag salute. Okay.
We'll do this first, and then we'll do that after.
Well, they told him 6:30. It's quarter after 6. We don't start till 6:30.
Yeah, the meeting starts at 6:30.
Well, we're starting it now.
Just to do this one item.
Just to do the swearing in.
Yeah, I know, but they told Brent to come down at 6:30. He wanted to be here.
Oh, he's waiting.
I don't care what you do.
Okay, we'll wait on his
No problem.
You are on hold.
Put your chest here.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I have to wait.
You have to wait.
You're right.
It's all in
We're
right.
gonna hold everything. Hold everything.
It's all in right.
We're going to be in recess till 6:30, then we will start the meeting, okay, Nick? A few, 10 more minutes to wait.
Does anybody have any Easter vacation stories you want to share with us?
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, we will now have this hearing.
Resolution reappointing Mary Cavanilas, is that right? As the tax collector for the township of Belleville.
Make a motion.
Second. Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg? Yes. Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Come on up. Come on up.
I think there's a certain Just the next adjustment, you stand over Josh. Next to me. Turn back. I, Mary Cavanilas,
I, Mary Cavanellas,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in the
established
United States
in the United
and
States
in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I, Mary Cavanilas,
I, Mary Cavanellas,
do further solemnly swear
do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of tax collector
of the office of tax collector
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mayor, congratulations, you do a great job down there, and keep up the good work.
Where do we meet? So do we go after this?
Where's the party?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not retired.
Congratulations.
That's it.
Congratulations, Nancy.
That's the best place.
Thank you.
We are now, we're here to receive George Farino Esquire to discuss litigations in in a matter involving the Township of Belleville, right, with your economic.
Correct.
George?
I would like to stay. Here, okay?
Yeah.
Good evening, councilpersons. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you and the public in connection with a matter that we thought was finished in October, because in October we appeared before a federal judge in connection with a scurrilous lawsuit that was brought by Michael Melham against Mr. Esposito and the township, that ended up costing the township in excess of $100,000 to defend. We are still currently in court trying to recover that money because we believe that the lawsuit that was filed was politically motivated, was frivolous, and had no basis in fact or in law. Consequently, when we appeared in October before the federal judge gave the opportunity for Melham and his attorney to withdraw the matter with prejudice, which is a nice way of saying a bullet in the head, it's over. He agreed to do that. We clearly articulated at that point that we, in order to avoid continuing to seek attorney's fees from him, reimbursing the township for the cost, we would come back to council and ask them if they were willing to forego it. A presentation was made in November, and the council felt that in order to protect the taxpayers of Belleville, they wanted to continue to try and attempt to recover the money that was spent in defense of this frivolous action that was peddled for about a year and a half, 2 years, and eventually, recognizing that it had no merit, the plaintiff decided that it was time to withdraw it voluntarily with prejudice. A document was signed, it was forwarded to the court held it based upon my advice to the court, whether you, as the council, wanted to abandon pursuit of the money. And to your credit, you advised me that after you carefully considered it, that you didn't want to do that because you felt obligated to at least attempt to recover that money that was spent in connection with defending that frivolous action. Well, apparently, Mr. Melham had a change of mind and a change of attorneys, because approximately a month ago, he is attempting to provide that frivolous lawsuit based upon papers that have been filed that I'm holding in front of me, claiming that somehow, some way, Belleville and Mr. Esposito and I guess myself fooled him or tricked him into dismissing the action with prejudice. That hardly was the case. We were in front of a federal judge who clearly articulated everybody's position. Based upon that, he made a voluntary decision to his lawyer to walk away from the case and finally kill it. As I said, about a month ago, we got served with a pile of papers, new law firm, claiming that he was tricked, deceived, into dismissing the action with prejudice. To make matters even more distasteful, I guess is the word, he's attempting to reopen it and then assert a claim based upon racketeering. I think it's an outrageous attempt to inject what I consider to be an ethnic slur towards Mr. Esposito, and anybody for that matter who has a vowel at the end of the day. It has no foundation in the law or facts, and I think it's a disgrace, and we are vigorously attempting to prevent this from being reopened based upon his decision through his lawyer to dismiss the action with prejudice. So all the papers have been filed and put in front of the same federal judge to make a determination that we think is obvious, and that is this was dead as a doornail back in October, and it should not be revived, and it's just simply a disgraceful attempt to really slur people who did the right thing by the taxpayers of Belleville by defending this frivolous action and seeking to recover the money that was spent in defending the action. So that's where we're at today. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Just, at no time did the town agree that we weren't gonna pursue going after him for the reimbursement for the lawsuit, correct?
There's no question about that.
Because I remember the council took a vote that we were gonna pursue the refund on the
It was
lawsuit.
actually a resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, and in fact, I've been in touch with Mr. Pyro, who's counsel to the GIF that covers you, and I've sent him all the papers, and I've been in touch with him, and, you know, so everybody's aware that that was the pursuit, never to be abandoned, unless you decided to do so. I mean, you know, when I was in court, I made it very clear, a lawyer doesn't have that prerogative to make that kind of decision. It's the client's decision, so it's your decision, no matter what I think. And, you know, you made your decision, and I communicated it to the court as I was obligated to do.
And you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. When he applied to the planning board to do that monstrosity next door, he put down that he had 2 parking spaces behind the building, which you have to cross town property to get to. I don't understand why Harrods and the code enforcement didn't say, you know, this isn't right. You don't have no parking there. So the planning board went ahead and heard it, you know, and approved it with spots for parking that he didn't even have.
Well, I don't know what that's his,
That pretty much is my understanding. The planning board record is, let's put it this way, it's a little bit vague.
Well, I read it, it doesn't seem too vague to me, especially like when he said that he lives in Lyndhurst, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, we won't let this guy from Nutley, Commissioner Evans, owns a house on Cortlandt Street. And for years, he said that the town allowed him to park behind the house and all that. So when he took back the house, he fixed it all up, or whatever he did to it, he wanted the 2 spots that he originally said were his spots. Well, they weren't his spots, they were town property. Because somebody let you park there, doesn't give you the property. Same thing went over here. You know, the guy who owned it before him, that owned the restaurant, never parked behind the building. You know, so it should have been heard to begin with, is what I believe. You know? Now he's coming around again to milk us dry some more.
So when do you think we'll hear back on this?
I mean, it is scheduled for April 16th, but based upon my experience with the court system, when they feel like it.
this is what I don't understand. The judge heard the case,
Yes.
she decided the case,
Well,
but
she did.
she never signed the order.
She never decided it because what she did was, quite frankly, she cut the guy a break. I mean, I don't want to go into detail because it would be inappropriate for me to publicly state what the court said or didn't say. But let's just say he was given the opportunity to gracefully exit and not suffer a different outcome. Let me put it to you that way. So it was made pretty clear that his options were quite limited based upon the merits or lack of merits of what was before the judge.
And Mayor, if I can point out, having the township, because this was not a covered event, you know, we've eventually made some arrangement with our insurance carrier with regard to the claims set forth in the complaint. But I think the governing body would have been not fulfilling its trust if it walked away from $100,000 without litigating.
I believe the whole council felt that way. That's why we all voted for that resolution with the width of those funds. But in the meantime, we are tied up, leaving that building the way it is. I'm gonna say 3 or 4 years. And I don't know why it can't be fixed. I mean, as a youngster, why can't they put up pole scaffolding and repair that building?
Well, in fact, Mayor, I think there's been a couple of instances where they've taken a couple of spaces on Washington Avenue and had trucks there and brought equipment or girders in through the front. Much the same as any other business there's not a lot of businesses on Washington Avenue that have parking in the back or driveways. Almost every single one of them, if they were going to make some structural changes to their businesses, would have to block off a couple of spaces in front of the building, park a car there, and I believe have the police there for safety purposes. I know the state police have been there once or twice to make sure there wasn't a traffic problem. Am I correct, Kevin?
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
I saw them there myself, that's what I'm saying.
I saw them there myself on occasion also.
Anybody else have anything? Mr. Frino, we want to defend this case vigorously, and I don't like the idea of him calling Mr. Esposito racketeer, and it's ridiculous. So, it's too bad that he can't wait for him to come also. But I understand his public officials were limited, so, yes.
Can we ask any questions?
I really can't let the public talk, I'm sorry.
During public.
You got the- Kev, you have anything to add? I know you were defendant in this case, but
That's the problem, Mayor. I have a lot to add, but being a defendant puts me in a difficult spot.
Understood.
okay.
Basically, Mr. Frino did an excellent job.
Mr. Frino talks for him.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
George, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Introduction of 2018 municipal budget.
Move it. Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Approval minutes.
Regular meeting of February 27th.
Make a motion.
You want to move all three?
Move all three.
Second.
Clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes. Reporter manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll start off with the water main break we had on Main and Middle Street. It was quite severe by Safe and Secure facility, which our water department in fact repaired. Concerning the introduction of the budget, just if I might just give a very brief history. Our 2017 adopted budget was in the amount of $64,038,998. Our 2018 introduced budget, and this is introduction only, this is by no means completed. All right, we're still reviewing it, we're still making cuts, we're reorganizing departments, we're reviewing our revenues, is coming in right now in the amount of $64,792,052, which is an increase of $753. And some of the drivers behind this are, number one, the municipal election that we have to pay for this year, step increases and payouts in the police department, same thing in the fire department, $100,000 increase in garbage, the collective bargaining agreement payouts, a $500,000 increase in police and fire pensions. We had a slight reduction in some revenues. Industrial sewer user charges also went down a little bit. So what we're looking at, all right, at this point, and again, this is introduction only, far from completed, $66.56 a year on the municipal side for a total of $5.55 a month, which adds 3.7 cents to the rate. That's all I have on the budget, Mayor. I'd also like to inform everyone that this coming Monday, the 16th, alternate side of the street parking will in fact resume. We also have on tonight's agenda, we have a contract to be awarded to Granada Construction for our 2018 road program. Weather permitting, and once it clears up and we don't get any more snowstorms, we will resume and complete our 2017 road program. We received the CDBG grant for Center Street and Smith Street. We received $842,268 and a DOT grant to improve Belmont Avenue, Cottage Street, Home Street, the Overlook. We have PSE&G working on a cost estimate to complete the streetscape program on Washington Avenue, and we will be meeting with the DOT concerning the Main Street flooding grant. Mayor, if I might, I'd just like to apologize to everyone. We had anticipated on introducing this budget at the last meeting, but because of a family medical emergency that I had, it was delayed till this meeting. So it's entirely my fault and my responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, you have anything? Manager? Me? No.
I have one quick thing. Sure. I know that we finally got a hold of Passaic Valley about that the third river, the trees that came down. I know Billy was talking to them about. Could you just keep me informed as to when they'll be able to clean those trees out of the river? Because I just don't want to see any.
Actually, I spoke with the fellow who's one of the members of that river. They call it the river crew.
Right.
They have a couple of jobs that they're finishing up. They're just getting back out again because of the crazy weather. They couldn't continue on as they would, and it should be within a matter of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Well, just express to the recreation department, we had a few hundred children this week at the Easter egg hunt. I think they did a great job in organizing it. And this Saturday, we have the opening day of baseball, which is free recreation for a couple of thousand children in Belleville. So that will open this weekend.
Thank you.
At not, a little early, 9 o'clock, but that's what time they plan, so.
But it's supposed to be close to
It's supposed to
70
be in the
degrees.
70s anyway.
So it's a good deal.
Thanks. Communications?
None at this time, Mayor.
What is the introduction?
Ordinance number 1 for introduction and ordinance amending chapter 23, zoning to implement ordinance amendments as recommended in the 2018 master plan re-examination report.
Move for introduction.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2 for introduction and ordinance amending chapter 23, zoning to rezone parcels as recommended in the 2018 master plan re-examination report.
Move for introduction.
Second. Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Yes.
Ordinance number 3 for introduction and ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation and to establish a cap bank.
Move for introduction.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
What is this public hearing?
Ordinance number 1 for public hearing and ordinance to amend revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, creating Chapter 5D Feral Cat Program.
Make a motion, open it for public hearing.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli? Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kimball?
Mr. Franklin?
I'm glad to see you doing something with the cats. There's a group from Nutley that takes care of them in the back of my place here. They do a good job of taking care of them. The only question, the ordinance says a suitable shelter. Where are we going to place this cat house?
The cat house.
When they have the temporary.
Feral cat house.
Yeah, the feral.
Feral cat house.
When they have the it's only temporary when the weather's not good outside, and it's gonna be in the garage of the police station.
Where?
Downstairs in the
Downstairs.
garage.
In the Sally Port?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
only
that's-
temporary.
It's only temporary.
It's only temporary, it's not,
Hope it don't interfere with the,
no, it's more with the DPW stuff in the back.
okay, but please bring the prisoners down. I hope it don't interfere with that.
Make a motion, close public.
Yes, sir.
Just on the ordinance.
Just on the ordinance,
feral-
also.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Who was speaking the ordinance, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
I thought other advocates would be. My name's Robert Schmidt, Cortlandt Street. I'm very concerned that we have a really good feral cat trap, neuter, return arrangement, like that the man that spoke was from Kearney, I believe.
Yeah.
I want something more than just to grab and stick them in a garage for a few minutes. And so do we have something more in place that'll be a more formal, structured, nice place for the kitties? There's a lot of kitties running around. I'm looking for one right now that's injured.
We're working on it.
Okay, that's
That's
great.
all
Marty, by the way.
Yeah.
You and I
You're
did-
Marty.
Yeah, we've been, sorry, guys.
I have to meet you then. Sorry to drink.
We're working on
Okay,
it.
as long as you're working on it.
We're working on it.
We're actually working with Marty.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Make a motion, close public hearing, move it for final adoption.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes?
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Make a motion, open up public participation.
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes?
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy?
Phyllis Frantantoni. On Resolution 7, I think it is, we'll be sending out the estimated tax bills. Are we going to put another notice in there about the illegal apartments?
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Hopefully a better one and a bigger one.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, council. Are we gonna, either this month or next month, to start resurfacing, the lines on the streets that we really need to prevent people from having accidents, crossing the lines and everything else? Because, it's getting bad out there, council. And, I'm afraid that someone's gonna get hurt or lose their life if we don't have the lines and everything like we're supposed to. Because I travel those streets mostly every day, and it seems like it's the same streets that seem like they haven't been touched, and it's fading away, as the cars go over. So we have to get together so that people actually can see the lines, because if not, we're gonna have a terrible accident on some of these same streets, that some of the residents live on.
I believe when we get the streets done,
Yes.
we're going to get it painted so we
Yes,
get
it's
the
part of that
the
problem.
company that does that.
Restripe.
Are there any in specific that you want to mention?
Like,
Geralman Street.
like mainly Geralman Street,
Yeah.
going from Washington all the way up down to Franklin.
Right.
And it's hard to see the lines. You gotta do an imaginary line yourself when you're driving, because you don't know if you're gonna go to the left and one of the oncoming cars is gonna be coming towards you.
I just leased a new car. And as soon as I drift over that line, the wheels start shaking on me. I said, what's going on here? But then I found out what it
The
is.
new car.
And then I'm gonna close with, is it still up in the air with the two-way street on Cedar Hill Avenue?
Yes, it is, because I don't know if the police department's going to recommend that.
Yeah, we don't know, we're waiting for that report.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. As a follow-up to Mr. Frino's very revealing presentation about the Mellon lawsuit, I have a question which I'm hoping has a direct bearing on the legality of his candidacy. I'm sure, as you all know, that when a person decides to run for Board of Education, if they have any existing claims or contracts with the board, they're automatically disqualified. You can't run. Now, I'm hoping, in the infinite wisdom of our state legislature, lawmakers, that there's a counterpart to this under the Faulkner Act, that if a person has a pending claim against the governing body, it would stand to reason, based on school board law, that there would be a similar constraint. You wouldn't be allowed to run for a municipal office if you've got a pending lawsuit against the same. I've tried to research this on my own, but I'm a junior attorney in the making, but I haven't been able to find an answer. Perhaps Mr. Murphy knows immediately what the situation is.
There is no such
There
constraint.
is no such.
No.
Too bad. Just really too bad. Two different set of rules, one for school board and one for
Right.
municipality. All right. Thank you.
Yes, Council, my name is doing a lot of work on the driveway, which is actually old Mill Street there. There was a proposal a couple of years ago to sell that property, but you remember it was advertised wrongly. What's the status of it?
Can we address that? Sure. Very good question, Ben. The owners of Nonina's conducted their own investigation through their own law firm, and they went back to, I believe, 1791. And what they found was that that was never a dedicated township street, all right? And that after so much time, half of the roadway goes to the property owners on one side, and half of the property goes to the owners on the other side, which is the Essex County Park System. All right, so in effect, what they've transmitted to us, and I believe I sent a copy over to Mr. Murphy's office for review, is the fact that they believe that they own that property. We couldn't find anything, there were no searches that said that was ever a township road.
We were leasing to them. What do you mean? So not only
Not the
we gave
road.
it to them?
Not to the best of my knowledge, not the road. Not the road, there was never a lease that I'm aware of. Tom, are you aware of any lease of that road to Nonina's?
Well, I have several copies. Years ago, the late Henry Trudzinski and I brought up the fact that they were using that property. We got them to pay, there were several leases that they were paying. I think the last one I have is the $12,000 a year. And that is Old Mill Street.
Yeah, well, if you can provide copies of those leases to Mr. Murphy's
I'm going to
office.
reserve my comments
You know,
for this meeting.
It was, I can tell you this, because there was serious concern on behalf of the governing body and myself, all right, that people would think that there was some land deal. There was never, ever a land deal, all right, or a transfer of township property to Nonina's. Their investigation and their discovery revealed, all right, that they are in fact the owners and do have the rights to improve that area as they wish.
Well, they were using our property for free. And to citizens, myself included, we got them, there was a lease, and I believe the part on Franklin Avenue, we actually got some money for them a few years back. That part was sold to them.
Well,
I remember we sold
We
some.
did.
we sold a piece up on top, I believe. Mr. Murphy was involved in that, the sale of the piece on
Yeah,
top.
there was, what the township owned, and it was actually in their, the front of their parking lot, about the equivalent of about 6 parking spaces. So we advertised it, properly, and we wound up selling it to them for about $220,000.
Yeah, that was on Franklin Avenue.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
one up on the hill, there's some questions I don't want to bring here. I believe he's on county property up there.
Well, the only thing I can say is I know we have an attorney looking
Yes.
into the, what's going on now.
Well, after all this, and I don't know if he's been paying the lease, I asked a couple of years ago, and I was told that we were still getting $12,000. That's the late, it started years ago, I believe, $4,000 when
Right,
Mr.
escalated.
Trudzinski and I brought it up. And so the actual lease, and I have those leases.
We'll get a hold of that lease and forward it over to our attorney and let them investigate it.
I just hope we, the taxpayers, don't get, and give these big wealthy people our land for nothing.
We're not giving anybody anything for nothing, I guarantee you that.
Did he get permits on what he's doing there?
I believe
Yes, he
it.
does.
Yeah.
He has the same question.
Frank Fleischman, 132 Franklin Street. Mr. Tucci,
Yes.
the Silver Lake Firehouse is looking absolutely wonderful. When is it opening and when is it being manned?
We're waiting for final certification from the engineering firm and the contractor who's actually working on it. Once we get that, we will schedule, obviously, a very grand opening, all right, and a celebration to get that firehouse back in operation.
Do you have maybe an estimate of what,
I'm
I'm not gonna hold you any.
I don't, I'll be honest with you, I was all consumed with getting the budget prepared for this evening and, the everyday type things that we deal with, but I will have that for you from them.
Thank you.
Make a motion to close public.
Almost beat you, Jay.
I'll get to you. Just a quick question. By what virtue of the litigation did we end up in federal court with the Melham matter against the town.
That's where you filed.
That's what
He filed in
I
federal.
just wanted to hear that's why we are in federal court on this matter, is because that's where Mr. Melham filed the suit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff, that was easy.
It was, wasn't it?
Hi, I'm Antonio from 20 Mount Pleasant Avenue. My question is when will smaller roads be resurfaced? Like for example, my street, Mount Pleasant Avenue.
I can talk on that. It's going to be resurfaced. It's on the road program, Mount Pleasant Avenue.
So will that be this year? Or?
I hope so.
The real question
I'm
is when
the
they're going to
councilwoman
get them
for
open.
that,
They
and I
can't
hope so.
start, they can't start paving
Right, it's cold and.
until they open up the
Yes.
units. As long as it's freezing, they don't open up.
Thank you.
Make a motion, close public hearing?
Second.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Yes.
Make a motion, move the consent agenda?
Second.
No.
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 Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Kibble?
Yes. New business?
Where you done? Where did new business go? No.
Yeah, I have something to say.
I don't know.
I agree, the Silver Lake Firehouse looks like almost a showplace. It's absolutely gorgeous. They did the floors, I paid a visit up there, and we're on the road, Mr. Fleischman, so I'm sure you'll smile. Okay. And you too, Carmela. I know, but it's coming, it's there.
I
We're gonna have a big party too.
I just wanted to make clarification on a couple of things here. Today is April 10th. It was the 64th anniversary of my grandfather's death. My grandfather was the one who owned the house that just got knocked down. It's gone. So, you know, I've lived at 14 Plunge for a number of years, and prior to that, on Dewood Avenue. You know, Chris Condrick took the house down, that's my understanding. I talked to Frankie about it. He paid for it, he took it down, it's his house, he can enjoy it. It's much better now than it was. Sadly, it used to be a beautiful place, it no longer exists, so God bless Grandpa. That's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to real quick thank Marty and Danielle and Robin, who's not here, for helping out with the feral cats around town. They help with this ordinance, but they also do stuff behind the scenes that no one knows about, so I just wanted to publicly
He and I are
thank you very
taking
much.
kittens, yes, kitten season is upon us, guys, it's,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
thank you, thank you for your support, really appreciate it.
Make a motion?
Second.
Congratulations. No, yeah, we will. It's gonna be.